The snow was falling heavily that morning, but it wasn't the storm that had me worried. It was her. Karen, the self-appointed queen of the neighborhood, had already sent out her usual slew of complaints, and today, it was about something ridiculous, how I shoveled my driveway. Yes, you heard that right. I was being fined for shoveling snow the wrong way. It's funny, isn't it? How people like Karen think they have the right to control every little detail of your life. One wrong move, one slight deviation from her self-imposed rules, and you're suddenly a target for her petty vengeance. She had an eye on me from the moment I moved into the neighborhood, and I had always wondered when the next strike would come. Well, now I had my answer. The fine arrived in the mail just a few days later. I stared at the letter for a while, reading it over and over again as if the words would change. It was comical, honestly. The Hoa had backed her up because of course they would. And now I had to pay for not shoveling in the proper direction, or whatever her warped version of that was. I was furious. But more than that, I felt a fire inside me, a sense of injustice that I couldn't just ignore. At that moment, I made a decision. If Karen thought she could play me like this, she had another thing coming. I thought about it for a long time, and then it hit me. The perfect way to show Karen exactly who she was messing with. I was done being the target of her complaints. I was done being at the mercy of someone who thrived on making others' lives miserable for sport. No, it was time for me to take control. I had the power to change this, and change it I would. I decided I would take the fight to her, not in the way anyone expected, not with a protest or another complaint to the Hoa, but with something far more impactful. I didn't just want to win this. I wanted to crush her arrogance, to make sure she'd never pull a stunt like this again. So I started researching her, how she bought her house, its value, everything. I knew it was a long shot, but that didn't matter to me. I was determined. Weeks passed, and I kept digging. I made my plan. And then, the moment came. The auction was set. Karen's house was up for grabs. It felt surreal, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. This wasn't about shoveling snow anymore. This was about standing up to a bully, taking back my dignity, and sending a message to the whole neighborhood that you don't mess with me. I bid, and I bid hard. There was no turning back now. The stakes were high, but I had already come this far, and I wasn't going to back down. The gavel struck, and the deal was done. I had won. The house was mine. When Karen found out, she didn't know how to react. She couldn't believe it. I'll never forget the look on her face when she saw me standing there, keys in hand, ready to take over what was once hers. The neighborhood had always been her playground, but no more. This was my moment. And as I walked into my new property, I realized something. It wasn't about the house, or the fine, or even Karen. It was about standing up for what's right and making sure people like her know that their actions have consequences. I wasn't just shoveling snow wrong that day. I was changing the entire game. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and share to keep the conversation going. Subscribe to QZ Stories for more powerful tales that'll keep you hooked.